Hello. I'm going to wave over here at YouTube and then I'm going to wave over here at Instagram. I do the live streaming on both of those social media areas because it seems like it's a good mix. And so, as usual, I am so excited to be here and talking and sharing time. So, thank you for that effort. Time is just so precious. And we hear so often about how we don't feel like we have enough time, which makes it even more special when people choose to invest time in showing up at a certain time in a certain place and investing in their wellness and knowledge. I just love it. Okay, so we're going to get started. Everybody's gone. I had some numbers here. Okay, anyway. So this is Let's Talk Tuesday, and I'm Sarah from Align with Sarah, and I am here to talk about so much stuff. So this is the month of May. I am feeling a lot of really fresh energy growing, and there's parts of my practice that are growing, and I feel like this works really well for having this intention, my piece of wellness, this area that I'm focusing on for my personal growth, is this experience of softening. And I feel like even with my excitement, I'm very aware of how I'm approaching this new experience in my practice, this new experience in life. It's been lots and lots of changes. And I ran into, I think last month I talked about this, my Lao Tzu quote about the softest things in the world overcome the hardest things in the world. And through this, I know the advantage of taking no action. And that softening, that thought of softening, is how I want to approach the new energy that I'm noticing and feeling and inviting into my practice. So let's talk about some of the stuff. I want to talk about upcoming events. If you are not part of my email list, you can sign up on my website or reach out to me with an email at life alignment and then the number 4 and the word you spelled out YOU at gmail.com. Oh, and I also have a super cute email it's say hello at alignwithsarah.com. I should say that one. So the email list just lets you know about upcoming events that I have going on and new things in my practice. And so next week we have our group healing session. That is super fabulous. If you want to see what that's like, all the replays are available on YouTube. I feel like they're probably somewhere on Instagram, but I limit my experience on social media because I feel my energy level like when I'm on there. So not for me. Group healing, it's about 20 minutes that we're together, starts at 9:00. That's on May 14th. It's on YouTube. I live stream, and then I also live stream like how I'm doing right now on Instagram. On the 22nd, noon until 1, I'm offering Lunch and Learn for the second time. It is information, so we'll be learning about being softer with ourselves, softer with our expectations, softer with a whole bunch of things that bring us forward into a place where we want to be. And there's time for questions and answers and interactions. And then I'm using that time to take volunteers for people that want to experience the energy work, a one-on-one session. And that is $20. Most things are very low cost or free, but that is a $20 investment to do that. And let's see. We have enrollment open. I'm also going to talk about this. We have enrollment open in a program that's really near and dear to my heart. I volunteer very regularly with the ladies that put together the Global Leadership Now Teen Leadership program. It's an in-person event this summer, so this is for local people here to like Owego area. That enrollment is open. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to globalleadershipnow.com. Again, it's for teens. It's an in-person thing. It's a free thing. It's like a summer camp, 3-day summer camp. And it's just so amazing. Leadership skills, obviously, are taught there, but a lot of self-worth, self-love, self-development, self-awareness. It's really, really a beautiful program. So if you have anyone that you think might be interested in it, please check that out. And let's see. So I mentioned not so excited about social media. It doesn't get me all warm and fuzzy inside. And for a long time, I have wanted to have some kind of place for people to gather in, like, I don't even know if they call this that anymore, but a chat room, which I don't know, maybe now they're just like inappropriate places, but the equivalent of a chat room. I don't really understand Reddit. Maybe it's like Reddit. I'm not exactly sure, but I feel like there is this part of these things that are growing where I'm going to be having my interactions on like a private network. So inviting people off of social media for this intentional engagement in education, in self-development and growth. So please, stay tuned for that. That is hopefully coming together in the next month or so. Other things coming together. I am finishing up some training with becoming certified in manual lymph drainage. I don't like calling that a massage modality because it is, it's like this. And I think people want it to be like massagey, like Swedish is going to be like very circulatory, but it's still aimed at the blood flow. Lymph is very, very superficial, and it's a very light touch. And the training that I've received, I've experienced it, and even training in a couple different ways with different techniques. And there's no glide whatsoever. And it's geared towards reducing that fluid that builds up with too much sitting. Pre and post surgery is what I'm super excited about. And also specifically focusing on really freshening up the energy in the brain, in the head. And so doing the lymph drainage on the face, neck, and shoulders is like, it's got 2 thumbs up for me. And I do feel warm and fuzzy and excited about that. So as my technique develops and as I get more hands-on people, well, to do that, I need more people. So please reach out if you're interested in being part of practicum work that we would be engaged in for me to practice and develop my hands-on technique. It does take quite a while to develop that skill. I saw that in massage school. That's why we needed 1,000 hours here in New York. And I'm so glad that I was part of this program because I feel like, even now I went to school for 2 years because I was part-time. And then I've been in practice for 10 years now. And I feel like I still change and learn. And I don't think I want to do that anymore. Like this technique or this move or, how could my wrist be softer? How could my hands be softer? How can my lower back, how can those muscles feel softer? Me as the provider. So yeah, it's always changing. And as this experience with lymph, there is a protocol to go through, but there still is a lot of technique to develop. So I'm going to be sending out an email with more information about how to sign up, what it's going to be like to work together. And I need feedback. So, there is some give and some take. And coming in to receive from me, even though it is practicum. It is still a service that would have a fee associated with it. So just to be clear about all of that. So that's one thing that's up and coming. This other piece, I'm so excited about everything. Cranial alignment therapy. So I've had my eyes on this, like the lymph part of the massage modality practice for a long time. I've had my eyes, my brain, my heart, like every layer of my being focused on the like somatic memory, tissue memory. And that's actually what brought me into massage. And the cranial sacral work has been so interesting to me, but I've always been intimidated about having to go to the city. I've been intimidated about the whole extensive experience of getting involved in that community. But it is this soft touch modality that I feel like has so much to give. And so in working with a couple new clients, actually lately, I had this kind of intervention of how what I do with restorative healing, how that can give attention to all of the bones of that make up the head and the face, the neck, and even the inner ears. We're going to include those bones, and checking in with how they are aligning with each other, how they are communicating with each other. And I am reading some book that I don't know where it is right now. Oh yeah. That is part of cranial sacral training. This is John Upledger. The Upledger Institute is where most people get certified and go through the training process, which includes becoming an instructor and lots and lots of stuff. And it's interesting to me because one thing that he like consistently says in this book is how he teaches, he will practice on a client and then teach a spouse, teach a parent, teach a friend, a loved one, how to help maintain the alignment in the cranial bones. And he so consistently talks about how simple it is. And it's really, I think, all of that what I do is this form of listening. So anyway, this is very, very raw, very new. And I'm looking for anyone interested in this, experiencing it. I am hoping to move this forward. I'm going to back up here. So this is going to be like preliminary work to see how it feels, to see how it's received. I do have a focus primarily on finding a group, kids, adults, doesn't matter, men, women, ADHD symptoms, and how cranial alignment can help allow the soft tissue that needs to exit all of these bones that we have to flow. And I can't help but feel like, just like cranial sacral helps with this so much, how that can calm the systems, how that can calm the mind, how it can create focus, create that calmness. So this is also very beneficial, and also with lymph drainage, things like migraines, things like hormone imbalances. I have this giant list of stuff, but I don't know where it is. And I can also just think of them. Also the huge thing with the sinuses, draining the sinuses. So when we get into thinking about the bones that come together to create the sinuses, this isn't just like one giant bone. We have some small bones. We have some bones deep into the head here, in between my fingers is this my favorite bone of all of them, even though I'm just going to tell my head I love all of these bones. This sphygmoid is, it's just fascinating to me. And if you have time, Google it and look at the cranial bones, and you'll see all kinds of nooks and crannies, and holes in bones are called foramen. And there's blood vessels, nerve vessels, connective tissue. There's all kinds of things going through those foramen. And the foramen need to be, those openings in the bones need to be as large as they can be, because they're that size for a reason. And the vessels don't tend to shrink, but misalignments can create congestion. So sinus stuff, that's lymph and this cranial alignment therapy, draining those sinuses. I keep hearing about how the pollen is insane, and especially this year. And I feel like everyone says that every year. And every year it's true. And every year it seems like it's more. But I also feel like every year we have that much more stress and that much more struggle in our body. And I think it makes us more susceptible. So that's a lot already. I've been talking for 15 minutes. Shifting gears into all this new stuff that's been going on, and how softening into, well, what thought will arrive next, gives this magical place, this magical space for this thought to arrive. And then this thought arrives. The harder approach is, oh my God, I need something new. I don't know what it's going to be. I need to chase this thing. I need to, buy this program. I need to get this coach. I need to do this thing. And it seems, all those things are wonderful things, but I've done those things, and I feel like my engagement with them reassures me of my high functioning, which is also wonderful. Support is also wonderful. But having this new place inside of me growing and opening and being nice and fresh, I'm going to engage in it with fresh energy. And so this softening feels really great. When we come to a yoga practice, a meditation, when we come to a moment of, even maybe before you journal, you might hear guidance of soften your gaze or close your eyes. Roll the shoulders, soften the shoulders. That experience of softening, this is important. That experience of softening shows us where we're hard. It shows us where we're holding on. It shows us where congestion is. It shows us the thing that needs our attention. So when we soften our gaze or shut our eyes, we're taking away one of our primary senses. We have sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, our intuition. We have a lot of them, but those are the primary ones. We're so used to seeing is believing, right? Seeing is believing. I have something going on. I'm going to point to the actual shoulder that's pretty tight. And seeing is believing. My shoulder's really tight. So now, my shoulder's been tight for all of my very many years. I just recently ticked over to my birthday was Sunday. And now I'm working on completing my 47th year, which feels like amazing. It feels like such a gift. So I feel like the shoulder has been sore for at least 40 years. If I go in for a scan, or we got to, look at this thing. We need contrast dye. We need, let's do some physical therapy. We'll break up that tissue. To me, all those things are very hard. Of course, it is important. Let's get some scans and then see nothing. Let's go to the physical therapy and we can, break up this tissue. And then guess what? I go right back to my life that has created this sore shoulder for 40 something years. And my shoulder starts reflecting what my life is adding up to contribute to this tension in my shoulder. And so all those things are great, but also recognizing, well, what's contributing to this and being softer in the approach. I feel like it gives us this more direct view of what does my body need? What does my mind need? What does my heart need? What part of me needs something? Because it's more about my shoulder. Is it about the responsibility I take on? Is it about the stress of a companion? Is it about financial concerns? Is it about the shoes I wear? Is it about the bed I sleep in? Is it about the job that I have? Is it about sitting at a computer? And there's not one answer to that. Could be a lot of little things. There's not usually just one answer to, well, why is this? And I will say that my thinking, that softening of, well, we can take that hard approach and we can fight back. To me, that creates this invite for there's some kind of tissue, that's pulling. And when we fight back, we're kind of just like pulling in the other direction. And we have this tension. We're adding tension. We're creating this like tug of war of like, I'm going to sit back down at that computer and I'm going to, swirl that mouse around and make this whole thing cranky and, all those things that are contributing. The bad shoes, the bad bed, the stress in the relationship, financial, the cars, how we're sitting in the vehicle, how we're, we can go back to all those things, but please don't be confused when that symptom shows up again. And that's what it is. It's a symptom. It's not the problem. The problem is all those underlying things that I just laid out. And maybe even emotional stuff. We have words for, the chip on our shoulder or bearing a cross, or that person's a pain in my neck or a pain in my and the people that tend to say that tend to have digestive issues. They tend to have hemorrhoid issues. They're called in that body, they're calling that out and their body is expressing that. I do feel like there is so much more fundamentally contributing to whatever those symptoms are that we're experiencing. But we get so confused. And then, heaven forbid, we get the scary diagnosis. You have this thing, you have that thing. Well, it still just means my shoulder hurts. And if I expect to keep doing what I'm doing and get some different result, then that's that path that you choose. But in my mind, it's the hard path. And I do believe in the soft path. I do believe in it's so much easier to just let go than to be stuck in that push and pull, creating that more tension. And sometimes when someone else lets go or something else, some other thing lets go, it can kind of leave us reeling. And that can be, that major diagnosis. That could be, that body system letting go and saying, I'm out here. I can't do this anymore. Or, that financial disaster that hits. I feel like that's those layers that I'm talking about of our life showing up to show us our breaking point, to give us that threshold of like, when are you going to see that this is about more? If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. So softening, I'm going to say this again, softening helps us notice where we're holding on. And it also opens up that opportunity to recognize I'm holding on to my stuff. So I'm the one in charge of letting go of my stuff, changing my ways, shifting my efforts. My favorite thing, that recipe for personal growth, noticing, listening, and shifting. It can get us to magnificent places of magic that we might not even be able to imagine. When we're noticing and listening, we have this opportunity to shift and say, I've always listened this way and I've never noticed anything. And I'm noticing that I've never shifted anything. So like, why am I, my analogy is like, why am I putting all of these ingredients in my soup of the day and just expecting it to taste different? Putting in those ingredients is going to get you the same outcome. I might have kids coming home, so it might get a little noisy in here. All right. So a great way to experience this letting go, this softening, are connecting with those things, those events that I was just talking about. I can see you next week and the group healing session. And it is such a magical experience to feel that engagement of feeling better, letting something go energetically, hearing me say something that might hit home for you and the 4 or 5, 10, 20 people that might be there. We are always exactly where we need to be learning exactly what we're ready to learn. And softening into that, these things that feel like the crappy that are happening to us, it helps me not create that tension in my neck, to recognize I'm here to learn something. And this is the level that I'm supposed to be at. This is the moment. I'm noticing this. It might have happened, I don't know, 20 other times today. I'm noticing this right now because it's teaching me something. I'm here exactly where I need to be learning exactly what I'm ready to learn. So we soften. I see some people hanging out. I really appreciate that. I love seeing some numbers on the screens, and I love feeling like I'm not just talking to my dog who's right over here or myself. And I'm wondering if anyone wants to put anything in the chat or say anything. I'm going to look through my notes for just one moment because I kind of write them everywhere. Oh, yes, there is one more thing. I'm going to check here for, yes. So one more thing, if I can have a few more moments. And of course, this is going to be on replay. So it's going to be available on the playlist on YouTube. And I believe it's in the Reels on Instagram. I might be talking, I'm going to look at this screen right now because I might be talking to somebody that is watching this, where when we have relief, when we have that moment where things feel better, I think many times people come into my practice and they don't know what to expect. Their minds are wide open, their hearts are wide open, they're open to my guidance, and even just the things of like, well, what might feel different versus going back to what we're trained to think. What's kind of the knee-jerk thought is like, how bad does this hurt now, or what hurts, what still hurts, or there is this experience where people will come in and they'll have relief. And I mean, this is a spoiler alert for anything that you do. If you journal one time, if you go for acupuncture one time, if you go for one chiropractor appointment, if you take one pill, if you take one vitamin, if, it's not one thing, it's not one dose, it's not one is not usually the answer, unless you're like, I hate everything about this thing I just did and it makes me feel awful, then that's the answer for one. But it's not usually one thing. So it's not usually one thing that helps. It's not usually one session that helps. It's not usually like one moment of effort that makes everything better. I do believe it all helps. When we find relief, so often, and this is in my life, and I have learned this and I still experience this, but I see it from a different perspective, so I can engage in it with different energy. Having relief, and then the thing shows up again. The pain shows up again. I treat all chronic pain the same. I ran down a whole bunch of things before when I was talking about the shoulder. All chronic pain, I treat it exactly the same. You come see me, Sarah, this financial stress is driving me crazy. I'm so sick of whatever. Okay, well, we need to know, what is your goal financially? What is your goal? What is it that you need? What is it that feels fun? What's the number that we're focusing on? What's the time frame we're focusing on? And then we work to align. I ask your subconscious mind, do you believe, does Sarah believe that she could make $50,000 in 1 month? Muscle test that. Where I'm at right now, I don't have to muscle test that. I feel like it would come back as like probably less than 10%. And the financial driven thing is not for me, but, and then there's a reason why financial thing is not, I don't get driven by that at all. And, I don't see anything wrong with that. So, but some people might have their goal of $50,000 in 1 month. There are limiting beliefs. There's trapped information. There's trapped emotional information. There is a story playing in the head of why your subconscious mind believes less than 10% possibility that it's possible for me or this person to come into. We don't have to earn. We don't have to, like dollar for hour, whatever. Money can just show up. People that we never have met can pass away and we can get a check in the mail. We can get a check from the government. We can get a check from our neighbor. We can open a drawer and, find this thing that we stashed away and we forgot about. Money can show up in any form. So we change this. I add in these thoughts. We do this, we open this up. Now you're aligned we're going to just say 95% of your subconscious mind believes that you can engage in $50,000 of income in 1 month. Okay. So now we've changed this energy. Now we have this opportunity to be looking for all of these opportunities, all of these ways money can come in. Our perspective has changed. We're sending out this message of, I haven't looked in this drawer in a long time, or, we might have different energy when we go over to the mailbox. Or, we can tell, if we tell one story, we have to tell 100 or 1,000 more because there's infinite amounts of stories. So then we get this money, right? We get this, next thing we know, it's 29 days later, and I'm counting out this money. Got my adding machine, and the tape is flying, and I look, it's $49,842. Amazing, right? Well, guess what? The pain can come back. Next thing we know, the roof can go. Next thing we know, we might need a vehicle. Next thing we know, there's this thing that we had forgot about. So the pain comes back. We have all of this fresh energy that we just engaged in. We just changed our whole life where $50,000 just started showing up in all these places. But now we have this experience where we can almost imagine the universe or this comfort zone threshold is creeping back into our life. We have this major expense, or we have this major thing that shows up. How do we interact with that? Do we go back to our, oh, woe is me, easy come, easy go, in and out? I knew it couldn't be as good as it seemed to. Are we going to interact with it that way? Or if we tell one story, we have to tell 100 or 1,000 more. Or we can look at that money that has come in, and we can be so grateful for it. And we can know that there's more coming. And we can put it out there with different energy than like one bill at a time. Or we could just know that more is coming. Or again, we need to tell one story. We're going to tell a lot of stories. We can engage in it in a bunch of ways. We can get a loan. We can take out some equity in our home. We can endless amounts of ways to engage in it. The one way to not engage with it is with the old energy of woe is me. I don't deserve this. It's not possible. It's not sustainable. It's, all of that is this energy, this pushing away of the thing that you want. Why would we be doing that? Why would we want to do that? How we show up for the challenge is almost more important than showing up for that initial success. I treat all chronic pain the same. So whether I gave the example of financial stuff, there's also the example of my shoulder hurting, and this and that with actual physical pain, body pain, somatic pain, and being curious about how am I going to engage in this again? Well, I know, my Tiger Balm works. I also know that putting my mouse on this lower table does wonders. I also know calling my chiropractor really helps. I also know I love my hot shower. I love the sauna. I also know, I can lay down. I can exercise this. I can stretch it on the wall. I also know, massage helps. I also know emotional support behind it. I also know, and I'm connected to the real hard stress that I'm going through in this moment. And of course, that's going to show up in my body with all the big changes and shifts that are here. And I can choose to interact with them. I can choose to try to regain control of that thing that I don't want anyway, because now I see how much I don't want it. Heading back into that comfort zone, heading back into that familiar place is that test, the test of time to see, are you going to keep doing what you're doing? Do you really want to not keep getting what you're getting or what you have gotten in the past? So softening into those experiences where we are in this moment to learn exactly what we're ready to learn. And when we have that relief and the symptom comes back, we're in exactly the right spot to learn exactly what we're ready to learn. And how you move forward from that is this golden ticket to that self-development or wellness or whatever those goals are. More knowledge, relief of pain. So that was my other real big point that I wanted to talk about today. How we go back, or if we go back, or how we interact with the thing that comes back. Because, finances are a part of life, and stress is a part of life on some level. And the more we tug and war with it, the more tension it's going to create, the more energy we're going to give that thing that we don't want. What do we want? I say that all the time, and it shuts people down. We can complain for hours about everything that we don't want. And as long as you're just, dumping and running with that, that's one thing. But if you're feeding that thing you don't want, that thing is going to grow. That thing is, where our attention goes, grows. Constant complaining, you're just manifesting. That's your soup of the day. It tastes like complaining. Everything that you have your focus on is going to be what you're savoring, what you're eating, what you're growing. So engaging in it differently. Okay, that was a long Let's Talk Tuesday. But I'm so thankful for your time and sharing that with me. And please connect with those events that are coming up. Please reach out with any questions you have or anything you want to share about what you noticed with the time together that we had. I wonder if there's one thought that just feels very predominant and feels very helpful and hopeful. I would love to know it. Okay, well, I'm going to get out of here, and I will talk to you again very soon. Thank you again. Bye. Okay, ending this.